1 week later.
And that's when I said, Paul's a huge cunt. Sorry.
Guys, I'm bringing the party to you.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
You big dummy. Oh, great Odin's raven.
Say hello to my little friend.
I stepped in a ditch last night, man. I almost froze my balls off, man.
You take drugs, Danny?
Every day.
Good. So what's the problem?
Yeah, David.
Oh, we help up your fear well without.
I'm the doctor.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
This aggression will not stand, man.
Engage.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
If I remember correctly, the question was about whether there's as much sort of like this perverted sex stuff in the comics. And the short answer is yes, very much so. But that just goes to highlight what terrible people these superheroes are, because they're so disgustingly perverted.
Yeah.
That
My kind of people.
Well, yeah, you'd probably be all for it. Yeah,
You can tell Kripke. You can tell Kripke that. I mean, I don't know much about the director, but when he said go watch something else, it was like, these are my sexual fantasies, and I'm not done talking about them. So go fucking watch something else. That's what it felt like. Legitimately, that's what the interview felt like. It's like, you know what? I love telling this shit. It's part of who I am. I'm getting off on it. You fucking watch something else. That's what it really. The interview. That's what it felt like.
That's kind of all it is now, because I think they're running out of plot at the moment. So they're just trying to drag it out somewhat by just doing something outrageous every week. It's like I've just watched the one where they go to the farm and it's all the animals that have been on Compound V. So like that's kind of jumping the shark, because it's sort of like, all right, I get how, like, when the chicken went through that guy's chest, that was quite funny.
Yeah.
I didn't need the sheep. I didn't need the bull. I didn't need anything else. It's like, okay, I get it. You know, you got to laugh out of me. The rest is just too far.
And they've been doing that a lot this season. I think they've lost some viewers because of it, because it's just. I watch it during lunch. I'm watching it at work while I'm eating lunch, and it's been a test. And I'm saying, if I can eat food while I'm watching this, I can do anything. It's good, not great. There's a high gore level. It's great writing. It is good writing. I've enjoyed the guest casting of from the Watchmen, from The Walking Dead.
Yes.
Don't you fucking hate that? Anyway, Negan's on there.
Negan's on there. What's his? I should know his actual name. It'll come to me, I'm sure.
Yeah, but he's actually been a nice addition to the season. You could tell, like, out of the gate, you can tell what's going on there just from what if you haven't figured it out, I may have just spoiled it for you, but
no, it was it was kind of at the back end of the episode that I've just watched, which isn't the latest one; it's the one before.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming.
They gave a few hints.
Oh, well, with hindsight, yes, I can see. It's one of those where it's like, oh shit, yeah, he's never actually done that, or it works. You know, the premise works. It's all like you think back at that, and you think, yeah, they didn't fuck that up. They actually, there were signs there, but I just didn't see them at the time. So when he started talking to the woman and that, I thought, what the fuck's happening here?
He's got the angel, and now he has the devil. So.
That's right. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. So I'm quite looking forward to watching the next episode, which is Wednesdays, Thursdays, whenever it comes out.
I think Wednesdays.
I'll watch that later this evening.
I don't remember her name, the African American. I don't remember the character's name. The genius. She's a great actress, eh? Great actress.
Yeah. Oh yeah, really. I think she's probably one of the best characters in this particular season. The other woman, Firecracker, I think she's called. I
Yes.
think her name's Valerie Curry. She's actually been in
Yes.
quite a lot. She was in The Tick, and she was in something with Kevin Bacon as well. I forget what it was called.
Yeah.
But she's actually been in quite a lot. Now, whatever I've seen her in, I've liked her. She's always she's always very good at what they ask her to do, the character that she's actually portraying. And I think she kind of does, aside from The Tick, I think she kind of does sort of like play someone who's a little bit unhinged more often than not. And she's very good at that.
The lady who plays the president, I can't remember her name. God damn it. It's she's dating the guy who plays Jack now.
Oh, really? Okay.
But that scene in the limo when Butcher sent her the picture, that's the first time she had ever seen that picture. The fucking director sent her that picture. And John, you haven't seen it yet, but
is that I think I might have seen that one where it's his ass or something.
Yes, it's a guy spreading his ass cheeks, and the director said she had never seen that picture. And when you see her, she puts her hands like this, and she's grinning like, "You fucking asshole." That was right out of the gate. She had no illegitimate reaction. She had no idea it was coming. That's why you can see her grin. And he took that take too.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, but it's probably also sexual assault to some degree.
Yes. But you can see her. She goes like this. She starts grinning. And if you didn't know the story behind it, you'd be thinking, "Oh, she fucked up." But that's the director. She had no warning it was coming. So
that's quite funny. That's quite funny. Yeah. So it's to sum up, it is what it is. It's for what it is. It's good, but. Whereas, like we were talking about X-Men 97, where people who are familiar with the original series probably enjoy this more, the current season, I think, conversely, people who are more familiar with the original series of The Boys will get less out of the TV show because there's so much good stuff that you're never going to see.
Okay.
That is never going to make it to the television screen. And it's kind of heartbreaking because there's some really good shit in those comic books. And you're never going to see it because within the space, I mean, even as far back as the first season, it's like when Huey's girlfriend dies in the first season when A-Train just runs through her and blows her apart.
Yeah.
And they bring Huey into The Boys. And it's all about sort of like, if you really want to do something about this, you need to take this compound V and you need to come and kick some fucking arse like we do. That's kind of what it's about. All this shit about his dad's not in it, all this. It's completely different story. It's like a sliding doors moment right from the very start of the first episode of the TV show. It just goes, and I was watching that and thinking, what the fuck's going on here? I recognise the characters' names, but no one's doing what they're supposed to be doing, and it's the story is completely different. It's really,
Can they clean this up in a season? Can they clean it up effectively? Is it going to be a Game of Thrones where people are going to be like, "God damn it, you the last 2 seasons was too condensed," and people will be complaining about it?
I think the short answer is no. I don't think you can go back and fit in the comic book story into what we've got now. With the situation that we're in, with these characters, I don't think you can do anything about the original story now. I think that's just gone by the wayside. We've had to abandon that. We've just got to play the hand that we've been dealt. We've just got to wrap up the story we've got with the characters that we have. And who knows what's going to happen, because the journey from issue number 1 to issue number 76, or however many of them there were, is what it's all about. That's the important stuff. It's the journey that these characters go on, and what the shenanigans along the way is just so entertaining. You can't get that in one season. You can't get that in 8 episodes. I don't think. We've already gone too far. We've already gone too far down this road. You would have to sort of like just wipe the slate clean. You probably could tell the story of The Boys in 8 episodes.
Yeah.
If you missed out an awful lot, because there's an awful lot, there's just violence for violence's sake, I think. You could probably cut out, like, Cunt of the Week. You could probably cut right out. And you could just stick to the plot. And you'd still have, like, a very good 8 season, or maybe a couple of seasons worth of The Boys. It'd be fucking awesome. Right. It'd be really, really entertaining. Very intense. But we've gone too far now. You can't go back and and retrofit the comic book into what we have now. It just wouldn't work. We
Okay.
don't have that those building blocks.
It's not bad. I don't see how they can clean it up in a season, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
No, I don't either.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Not unless you just go down the route of like, here's the virus, have at it.
Yeah. The reason I stopped is because it's too political. The political stuff just
Yes.
I just can't. I get enough of that now, and
Yeah.
I don't need it in my show. And so
It's very one-sided too. It's very one-sided. A lot of conservatives. It's very one-sided. That actually this year, conservatives and nerds, ironically, like Jesus Christ, he shits on the folks who watch the show and enjoy Marvel and DC movies. It's like, holy shit! Do you, like, as I said, do you know who your fan base is? Do you know who's watching this show?
Yeah.
But the far right, it gets taken to the woodshed practically every episode. Geeks get taken to the woodshed. The far left, there's nothing. It's very, very quiet, and I can see where some people have said, "Yeah, no, I'm not watching that." So, it is what it is. Have you either of you watched House of Dragon?
No.
Yes.
Right.
Look, you're here, Scott. Yeah, you watched The Boys? No. You watched House of Dragons? No. You watched The Trailer? No. Fucking hell. This is what you see what I've had to put up with.
I was charging it. I was charting it, and I was thinking, I wonder when they're going to realize. Yeah.
I had to send him away last month to go and watch something just so I could talk about it.
Yeah, it's he gave me homework. If he hadn't given me homework, I would never fucking bothered. Right?
No, I know.
Wouldn't have watched any of those three. So
make him do it. Yes, I have. That's on the list as well. I'm glad you brought that up. Come on, I'm going to let you go first. What do you think?
Well, it's where did I write that? Boop, 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 boop.
I couldn't agree more.
Oh yeah. Well, it's very good, but you know what? It's missing, and I realized this last week before the big. You're all caught up, eh?
Oh, I'm all caught up. I think we're going to agree on this. This opinion.
It's missing George R.R. Martin's raunchy sense of humor. By the second season, the Imp, Sir Bronn of the Blackwater, like you were starting to see characters break out because he gave them really good writing and jokes, and even though you hated them, you loved their characters because he made them so colorful.
Yeah,
that's missing from this. There's been, except for Matt Smith, there's been no breakout characters. They're all a bunch of pricks, and if they're not funny pricks, and if they're not funny pricks, you don't notice them as much. It's a different time, even though it's only been 8 years. It's a different time. You can't have men being men. The main guy who would be, I would say, what's the guy with the fake hand? I can't remember him from the original series.
Yes, he was.
Lannister.
Yeah, Jamie Lannister.
Jamie Lannister. You can't have a Jamie Lannister in this because you can't have pussy hounds in this. You can't have. It's true. You can't. There's no one. Most of the guys. I mean, they have brothels, but it's featured just basically a guy laying there telling his feelings to the local whore. And that scene there was, they pull the curtain and there's a lady going to town in the old Coxworth. I was like, what the hell? It shocked the hell out of me. I'm thinking, wow, that's probably the most male orientated sex scene they've had in the entire series. I mean, the one who plays the Queen's her guard.
Yeah. Tristan, something like that.
Yeah, Tristan Cole. 1 week he's eating pussy, the next week he gets slapped across the face, and then she says, "Go ahead and fuck me." I mean, you can't do that now, and it's really hurting the character development because none of these characters are likable, and none of them are breaking out, with the exception of Matt Smith, because he's Matt Smith, and you could put him in a cardboard box and he would break out as a character. So that's hurting the show. And the one character who was starting to break out fell a couple of 100,000 feet last weekend, and she's gone now.
Yep.
So that was the biggest shock to me. That was the Stark moment from season 2.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. I thought that when she set off on that dragon, I thought she's not coming back.
She's not coming back.
And that was as soon as she set off, I thought, fuck, they're gonna kill her. And she, like you say, she's one of the better characters. She was one of the more likable characters because she'd been snubbed for the throne. She had a claim to it. She wasn't happy about it, but she was getting on with it, and she was formidable in every other respect. And she was probably the one who deserved to be on the throne more than anybody.
Every scene she was in, the acting, and I'm just talking from an acting interaction, actor's interaction. Every scene she was in was made better because she was in it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's going to hurt now that she's not on this series, because there's a few actors I'm thinking, oh my God, you're fucking terrible. And I don't care whether they live or die.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. Yeah, terrible in every respect. No, I completely agree with everything that you just said. I was having a similar conversation with somebody at work the other day, and it's kind of heartbreaking, really, because it's just not really a patch on the original TV series. It's like the first, I don't know, let's go as far as saying that at least the first 4 or 5 seasons of Game of Thrones were outstanding, I think. It's probably safe to say. And that's a lot to do with the cast. It's a lot to do with the script. It's a lot to do with the actual plot itself. There was so much happening in Game of Thrones. And it really was. It was so complicated, but it was also, you could follow what was going on. Everyone was stabbing each other in the back. Yeah. Everybody wanted to be on the throne. Everyone was trying to fuck over each other. And it was so much fun to watch, because it's like, oh shit, that character is just meeting up with this character for the first time, but we've seen everything that they've done in the past. We know what they want. We know how they feel about each other. What's going to happen? And it was kind of exciting. And you look forward to that sort of thing. There's nothing like that in this series. And I think partly because of the dragons. Because you've got distance now. Whereas previously, everyone was like walking, riding, sailing, and everyone was sort of like, it really was about the journey, because so much was happening while people were getting from A to B. Whereas now, you get on the dragon, you go thousands of feet up into the air, and then you fly to where it is that you want to be, you burn everyone to death, and then you go back to the castle, high fives, to your medals, everybody's happy. And you've lost so much interaction because you've got one person on a dragon up in the sky. There's nobody for them to interact with. There's no dialogue. There's nothing. And because there's so few protagonists, and because you've got 2 sides basically.
Neither of them are good.
No. Well, no. They're all shithouses. No. Whereas in Game of Thrones, you had about 5 different people who wanted power, who would do anything to take over, who would fuck anyone else over, so that they got power. Whether they ended up on the throne or not, they would want to fuck everybody else over to get their power. There was always like 5 or 6 people who would do that. But now it's just 2 houses, isn't it? Yeah. It's House White and House Red, whatever the fucking names are. Who knows? Nobody cares, because no one's interested in anything they've got to say, because it's so. No, that's not fair. I was going to say it's so fucking boring. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
It's not. There was a point, not the last episode, the episode before, when I finished that one, I thought, I don't remember anything at all about that episode. I don't think very much happened, and it's just missing. It's missing a Tyrion, really. It's missing a Tyrion. It's missing a Bronn. It's missing a Jon Snow. It's
Jon
missing
Snow,
a
even
Daenerys.
the giant. There's. Well, when they and I'm not sure if they should have done it, when they spent that 10 minutes in the north, the whole time you're thinking about the first 4 seasons of the original series, and you're comparing and contrasting subconsciously, and you were thinking, I was thinking, and my understanding is they're not going back to the north this season, and they probably should have just not done it in the first place, because subconsciously I was comparing it after that. I mean, this last episode was really good. But the episode before, it was very dry. Nothing happened. Even though the assassination took place, it was a few people would even say it was boring, which is a terrible thing to have anyone say about your show.
Yeah. I think the problem is, like I say, it's not a bad show. Despite everything that we just said, it's not a bad show. It's just a shame because you can't help but compare it to the original Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't stack up in any way against the other one. It's not doing anything better than the original did. It's doing everything worse.
Yeah, it's not as an interesting world.
No, it's not. It's relatively worse in every respect to Game of Thrones, which was excellent for the first few seasons. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, because House of the Dragon is still better than a lot of other television that's on at the moment.
Oh, yes.
Just relatively, it's just so much worse than the original Game of Thrones. It's kind of disappointing. But what made me chuckle, like you say, that scene where they go into the brothel and you got that woman going to town on the guy's penis.
Yeah.
When that kid, like in the original Game of Thrones, there was quite a lot of that. And it's all like, ooh, that's quite risque for television. And everyone was kind of shocked by it. And I think they were desperately trying to inject a little bit of that shock value back into this. Yeah. But it just looked so weird.
Yeah, it did.
It was clearly a false dick. And the way that she was going to town on it, it's sort of like, that's the worst sexy thing I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah. I was going to say that. I was sitting there saying to myself, that is the fakest looking cock. I mean, there's literally some girl said, we want you to suck this fucking broom handle for a while. And it's like, I was sitting there saying to myself, and when I brought that up, I was saying I should go in depth in that. They have tried to make everything look legitimate, except they couldn't get a cock right.
No.
And that's the epitome of what I said.
And there's so many fakes out there to buy.
Yeah, exactly. They could have just gotten a dildo, but it was like, you know what? It's a cock. Cocks are bad, and that's one thing I've noticed. The guys in this, there's no band of brothers. There's no camaraderie. There's no Magnificent Seven. Male personalities are taking a back seat in this, and it's hurting it because as the seasons go on, the women aren't that likable. They're great actors, but they're not that likable. If you have characters that you can't root for, your series starts dying a slow death. So, but I noticed that. I was like, that's not a real cock. I've got one. I know that.
That's right. Yeah, it didn't even look. It didn't look anything like a real cock. Yeah. And also, the girl that they got to actually sort of do the blowjob on it had clearly never given a blowjob before.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my, that's what was most shocking about it. It's like that's just.
I know.
Fucking, oh my god!
When I saw it, I laughed my ass off. I was thinking, Jesus Christ!
It really took me out of the scene. It's sort of like,
you know how many titles for the show I got just in this segment, and I'm going through. I was listening to you guys, and I'm writing them down. I'm thinking, how am I going to get away with this one? How am I going to get away with this one? How am I going to spell it?
You thought it wasn't going to get any better than Cunt of the Week.
Oh, but I've got like 6 here.
But they have intimacy coordinators who must have came on set and said, okay, this is the way you're going to do it. You're going to take it. Well, why don't we get a dildo? No, you're not going to get a dildo. You're just going to get whatever I give you. Which it looked like a broomstick, and then you're just going to suck. Well, no, you know what? You're not going to sexualize this too much because there has been a push in television in general that you accentuate this and you compress this, and that was absolutely one of those things. You know what? You're not going to make her look dominated. So I mean, you know, in what specifically could be one of the most dominant acts of sex, you're not going to do that. I could guarantee you there were some weird fucking conversations with the intimacy coordinator on that show, and that was the end result, where it looks like she was sucking off a fucking broom handle.
I think it was a candle, to be quite honest.
Candle, whatever it was.
Yeah. No, you could just imagine it, can't you? It's sort of like, right, okay, now we don't want this to be titillating in any way. Check. We don't want it to look like a real cock in any way. Check. We don't want it to look like either of them are enjoying it in any way. Check.
Yeah.
Like, and certainly we don't want the audience to be enjoy it or be excited in any way by it. Check.
It's terrible. When you said candle, the first thing that through my mind was Marilyn Monroe. She lived her life like a candle in the wind.
Oh, fuck.
Jesus. But yeah, anyway, that's our
review of House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
The cocks don't look anything at all like that.
Oh man.
Oh dear. But
the candle cock.
The candle cock. That's probably as good a place to end that review as any. But I just have to agree with you about the characters as well. They're just so poor. There is nobody that I like, nobody that I'm rooting for. It's like I mentioned Daenerys Targaryen earlier, and when she was on screen, not only is she a good actor, but also the character could be really cruel and brutal.
Yes.
And you didn't know which way she was going to go, and it kind of made it exciting. It's like, oh fuck, what's she going to do? You didn't know. In this, like I say, you've only got two families, you've got two houses that are against each other. That's it. The lead female of each are both. Neither of them want to fight. They're both soft. Yeah. They both sort of like trying to it's like there's no jeopardy. There's no tension. There's nothing going on. The only people who bring any sort of tension to the screen is Matt Smith, because that's what he does, because he's a good actor. Yeah. Even though I think they've softened his character somewhat in the second season. In the first season, he was awesome. That scene on the beach where he was going up against the crab people, raiders. Yeah. And he's just running along that fucking beach, just taking people out and all that. It's like, oh my God, he's fucking awesome. He's amazing. There's been none of that in season 2. Absolutely none of it. All he's doing now is having bad dreams and getting upset.
The bad dreams. It's funny that actress.
Yeah.
That was part of it.
Yeah.
It's terrible, but it's just where we're at. I thought that was actually a trans woman. And it's not, and actually, it's actually a woman. I felt terrible about that because I researched it and I was like, "Oops." That's just where I thought it was a trans woman, and I apologize to the actress because it's actually a young lady. She's actually from, I think, Sussex. Is there a place called Sussex? Yeah,
there's a place called Sussex.
Yes, yes, but she is from there, and because I said I looked at Susan, I said, "Is that a trans woman?" And Susan looked at me, she's like, "I think it is," because she's got that quagmire chin.
Yeah.
But I had to check, but it's because I know that there's guidelines they have to use now, and I said okay, but yeah, I thought it was a trans woman. I felt terrible about that, but I never, I kept it to myself till now.
I wouldn't go as far as to say that I thought it was a trans woman, but I didn't think that they were using some prosthetics or makeups. What do I know? And and final word on the subject: the guy with the eye patch and the long white hair.
Yeah.
Hate him. Fucking hate him. But not even in a good way. He's not even a bad guy that you enjoy. Like Joffrey. Everyone hated him. But the character needed to be there and they needed to do that. Whereas he's just a fucking wanker. I just can't stand him.
He's literally a wanker. Did you notice I get rid of that this season? He isn't jerking off to the queen anymore. But that's what I mean. That's another example of they have just completely they have completely demasculated any kind of character, and they're all losers who jerk off to clothes. It's they're taking away what was made some characters a big part of the first thing. The first series, and it's hurting it. It's hurting the quality of the show.
Yeah, the characters aren't interesting anymore, and it's really hurting the show. And that really is the final word on the subject. We could just go on and on.
Yeah, we need to move on.
Okay. Yeah, we do.
Did you watch Sweet Tooth? Either of you watch Sweet Tooth?
No.
No, never did.
Oh, no, hey, look! You didn't watch something.
No, I didn't either. No shit, John didn't watch it. He doesn't watch anything.
I'll make this very quick, and hopefully you'll watch it because it's a unique premise. Jeff Lemire wrote the original comic.
Oh, I know all about it.
Yeah.
All about it.
Yeah, same here.
Did season 3 come out fairly recently, or was season 3 announced?
Season 3 came out recently. I watched it.
Right. Excellent
primary cast. Great villains. actually great villains. I mean, I'm doing a disservice to the actors and actresses, but I could see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. I would absolutely love to see another series. I mean, there was a really, really well casted cast. There's a few ideological eye roll seconds where you'll see something happen in a series and you'll think, I know the only reason this happened was because of insert ideological idea here, and it did take away a bit from it, but overall, great series, well written, well paced. Even the locations were pretty cool where they actually shot the third season in was pretty cool.
Was it Canada by any chance?
Alaska, but it wasn't in Canada.
Alaska.
It may have been shot in Canada, but it involved a trip going from Montana up to Alaska, and I really enjoyed it. You could tell they cut the budget for the third season, but they got rid of I call them the fucking kids because it was probably the bane of the first and second seasons. They had a child cast, and they got rid of all of them, which was good. They cut a lot of dead weight out.
If I'm being honest, now I never read the comic book series. I know what the premise of the story is because I've watched the trailers because it was something that I had an interest in because it was a comic book property. I'd heard it was very good. But
it's worth
being
watching.
Completely honest, it's the kiddie cast that really put me off. I thought I'm not watching something with a lot.
It was the kid lead that put me off, or the way the character was portrayed.
He's actually pretty good.
He's a whiny little fuck or stupid.
Yeah, but he grows, and that's the good thing about this is he grows as the seasons go on. But there's 4 other cast members that 2 right out of the gate were brilliant actors. But the villain in season 1 and 2, I don't know who this guy is, but he's fucking good. And there's a couple of I know first season was about a 6. Second season went up to about 8, and I would say the third season was an 8. But it was a very unique premise, and you'll like this, John, because there's a very clear message in it that humans should have their time over and animals should take over the world.
Oh, sweet. Okay, you sold me.
There you go. You're sold.
Yeah.
It's like literally at one point in time, they're like, you know what? Our time's over.
Mm-hmm.
And people and characters literally go out of the way to sabotage it, so all of humanity dies.
Oh, okay. Fuck I'm on board then.
There you go.
I'm on board about watching humanity die. I always cheer for the apes. Always cheer for the apes in the Planet of the Apes.
Actually, that's a good analogy. If you enjoy Planet of the Apes, I would be very surprised if you didn't enjoy this also.
Yeah. Anywhere where the humans are getting their ass kicked and get a good chance they're going to get wiped out, I'm on board. So
3 seasons. Load it up.
So
what else do you guys got?
I have this quick thing here. It's just more of a statement than anything. I told when we were doing the test yesterday, I told Scott about this, but I really have a problem with people going back and watching old properties just to say how bad they are now. Telling this didn't hold up. This is really bad. You shouldn't. And it's just like you're just looking for something to shit on. Yeah. It was perfectly fine in that time period.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. So you want to take a look at it again and rate it against today's standards, just to show you can say it's bad. Fuck off. There's enough bad shit out there right now, and as Scott mentioned earlier, a lot of people hate watching. So this must be it too. We just want to show that, them doing that now, we just wouldn't fly nowadays. You just wouldn't. Well, then fucking make movies that'll fly nowadays. Don't go back and watch ones that were perfectly fine back then. So it's just, I'm fucking tired. I hate seeing shit like that.
It's
I feel like
how they make money.
I feel like going and listen to some of these things and then go back 2 days later and said, well, those comments wouldn't fly nowadays because it's 2 days old. So, fuck off. So, thank you.
Yeah. It's since X was rebranded and they made it easier to make money on there, Elon Musk started paying content creators. It's actually in some ways the site is worse because people go on there and it's just a variety of subjects, not not even just completely pop culture. Well, they'll say things that they know are going to get attention. It's not even to make a point or to teach you anything. They'll just say something that they know is going to get eyeballs on it, and it's terrible because it's really making the platform that I thought was going to turn into something better than it was, me to be on it less, because you can feel you're being manipulated. And that's just all social media, because Instagram, my understanding, is the same way, where you're constantly feeling manipulated because people are trying to make money off your reaction.
Oh, well, when you look at pretty girls all the time, that's all I do.
This is just one small example. I brought a picture up, and I walked away from the laptop and I forgot to close the window. It was a cosplayer on X. So that thing that AI knew I was looking at that picture for like 10 hours for the next 2 fucking days. Holy shit. I couldn't open my browser without having cosplay tits in my face. And I said, and that's the bad thing about it, is the fact that it's gotten more to the point where if it thinks you like something, it'll fucking force feed it to you.
See, I do that when I don't interact very hardly on Instagram. I just go on and look at the pictures of the pretty girls and stuff like that. And the worst of that was there was this one, she had a can of American Pringles in Japan sell chips that say American flavor. And so I bought one, or Harrison did, and we tried it, and it tasted like shit. So there was a girl on there, and she had a thing. She goes, "Oh, American flavored," and I just put "tastes like shit." And then all of a sudden, I got yelled at for being a Jew. And then
sensational hair.
But no, there's no picture of me. There's just a symbol that says I support Israel. Okay, so they said, "Oh, you taste like a Jew," and it says the one guy says it probably tastes like your country, and I said, "I'm making a statement." I said the one guy, "I'm simply making a statement on the taste of the chip." I says, "I tried it," and it says if Japan wanted to sell a chip that tasted like America, it should taste like a Texas barbecue, right? A cheeseburger, right? Whatever this was tasted bad. That's all I'm saying. So,
to hear that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's made the platform less enjoyable for me. It's just where we're at, and I don't see it changing, unfortunately.
But ironically, the algorithms actually nailed me, because when I use X, there's only 3 things that come up. It's things about dogs, things about wrestling, and things about people getting killed. It's funny. And those are the only ones that I open up. And the other is I'm getting so much wrestling now, and it's your fault, Scott. It's your fault. Because I follow you, and you comment in so many wrestling posts. And I'm just getting so much wrestling.
People fucking read that? I didn't know people read it. That's one thing I've noticed is since he's taken it to a pay platform, I don't pay for it now. I'm thinking about changing that just to the simple fact it feels like it's screaming into a fucking wind tunnel, because my folks, commenting on my posts has just gone down to like 10% of what it was before. And I think if you're not paying for it, your posts are depressed. I mean, that's just commerce. That's the way commerce works. But yeah,
I don't actually use it as a social media platform in air quotes anymore now. I don't speak to anybody on it. All I do now is just watch videos. But like I say, it's mostly wrestling, and it's mostly sort of like, it's usually the older stuff that I watch, like reliving my youth, the glory days, the 90s Raw era. But yeah, so much of that. Dogs, because I like dogs and it's funny. And yeah, people getting like run over or falling off bridges, that sort of thing, because it's hilarious. So that's about it. But yeah, very, very rarely interact with. The only time I interact on X is when you guys send me direct messages. I don't speak to people on I don't comment on posts anymore.
Do you follow that MMA commenter who comments on fucking videos? Steve Yzerman, I think.
I've seen some of his stuff.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
He's just. I got in on the ground level of that. He only had like a couple 100,000 followers, and I sent him a message. I said, "You're going to be comedy gold because you're you're doing for regular stuff what Jim Ross used to do for wrestling, where he gets so animated on fights. I mean, it's hilarious. I'll repost.
It's funny. Yeah.
I've seen a few. There's a guy whose surname I think is Inman, who does some commentating. That's it. Yes, I have seen him. Then I have. Yes, Steve Inman. Yes, I have seen him.
I follow him, and I like. It's just he's found a lane, and he's got over 1 million. He's got over 1 million followers now. But it's great to hear because he can take the most stupid things, and he's very honest too. Lettucillin instead of penicillin. You know, when guys fuck around, it's one of those things. You used to see videos just of people getting the shit kicked out of them. Now you're seeing bad guys getting shot.
Yeah.
You know, and that's very rare now on Twitter, because before all you would
freeze frame
store, and his site is specific in you see the bad guys getting what they should get.
Yeah. So I just want to bring out another quick thing, and then we'll move on. It's just it's another one of my little comments, but it's so I watched the Young Sheldon finale, and then this goes back to what Scott said about clickbait and just getting heard. So in the storyline, Penny comes up, but they never mention Leonard. And I didn't think it was necessary to bring him up, if anyhow. But because he wasn't mentioned, his name wasn't mentioned, and they have a son named Leonard, some guy decided, oh, Leonard's dead. That's why. How the fuck do you get that? He's not mentioned. And many people name their children after someone who's still alive, like their grandfather or mother or whatever. And it's like, how the fuck do you come up with this idea? You're just looking for someone like me to click on it because they want to say, how did you come up with that idea? Yeah. And it simply says he wasn't mentioned. So fuck off.
Talking about it.
That's it. It just pisses me off, though.
Yeah. So is that Mr. Stewart, the comic book owner? He's dead as well, is he?
Yeah.
Because no one ever talks about him.
Yeah. No one brought him or Raj. Yeah. So.
I love those clips, by the way, from the show when they all you can find them usually when they go in the comic book shop, and the geeks look up when the girls are in the shop. Yeah. And he's like, "I will take a hose to every one of them." It was just because they're like just the sweatpants guy where they're just like holy shit. Those. Well, we go to comic shops. We know it's definitely art imitating life.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. We all know those guys.
Yeah.
We probably used to be though. I certainly used to be those guys.
At one time. Yeah. I mean,
we have a sweatpants guy.
We do.
Never wore sweatpants, but yeah.
We have a sweatpants guy, and the closest that came to someone saying it was Tristan, who said something about that young lady, and she never returned.
Yes. Yeah.
Not when we were there. He said something. He didn't even try to whisper it, and I just looked at him. I said, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Well, let's see the scene in Big Bang where he says, "Did you just pick up a girl in here?" It's like, no, I don't care. You're going up on the wall. He put his picture on the wall whenever he pick up a girl in the comic shop. Those one-liners, anyone who goes to comic shops are twice as funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I've got literally 2 more things that I'm going to mention.
Okay.
And then that would be my list exhausted. So I've got a statement and a question.
Okay.
Statement. I finally watched Godzilla -1. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was very, very good. Mm-hmm. So I thought I'd let you guys know because I think you've both seen it.
I have not yet.
I have.
I think I'm watching it. I think I'm watching it this weekend.
I went in the theater and watched it in a black and white version.
A black and white version. Interesting.
Yeah. That's the way it was released in the theaters, black and white, not color.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh well, I watched it on TV and it was in color, but very good. Mm-hmm. It was very. I was impressed. I was very impressed.
Mm-hmm.
It was,
Godzilla of color.
Yes.
Godzilla of color. Yeah. And the question is the last Godzilla and King Kong movie. I forgot what it was called. Something Kingdom.
No. Godzilla time or plus
Yeah.
X Kong.
Yeah, sorry, I'm getting mixed up with
Yeah.
the Planet of the Apes film, aren't I?
Yeah.
But the last Godzilla and Kong movie. Did
Yep.
either of you see that?
Yep, I saw it.
Is it?
I didn't.
Is that any good?
I enjoyed it.
The reason why I'm asking is because on Apple Movies, going back to the start of the show, we were talking about digital movies.
Yeah.
There's a double feature of both Godzilla versus Kong movies, and it's £7.99 at the moment, which is quite good, bearing in mind that the movie itself is £13.99. It's a massive saving.
Yeah.
And I actually quite fancy watching it. And there's quite a lot of special features, including a director's commentary. And I'm a sucker for a director's commentary.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love watching movies with director's commentaries. I like to know the story behind the movie. And, oh, yeah, we did this and we chose to do that and we decided to do this and he did the so on and so on. So I was actually serious, even though I haven't seen it before and I don't know anything about it. I knew you'd seen it and I wondered if it'd be worth me spending money on it or if I'd be disappointed. So it's a good film.
Yeah,
so
I liked it. I enjoyed it.
A relatively small amount of money, I can get both movies, and it's really a cheap bundle just so I can watch the second one because I've seen the first one. It's just so I can watch the second one.
No,
so
I knew exactly what I was getting into, you know, and so Godzilla and Kong, cool.
Yeah.
The humans are there for segues. It's mostly about Kong and Godzilla, you know, having to team up to take on this creature, and the emotion, like following the story through the emotions of, again, the facial expressions, the body gestures that tell the story because they don't speak, right? And it's neat how they brought that through. You can see him thinking in this thing, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And special effects are cool, you know? It's just a movie I just enjoyed to sit and watch. So, for sitting at home, yeah, definitely do it.
See, that's quite enough for me. Sometimes you just like to switch off. I like action movies.
Yeah.
Something that just keeps me entertained. I just like to be entertained. It doesn't have to be. Not everything has to be the Shawshank Redemption. I'm quite happy to watch John Wick. You know.
Yeah.
Here's
the plot. There's what do they call them in the TV series? There's
MacGuffin.
No. You know, they got the name for the creatures, or each, not their personal name, but there's this creature from the past that was like the top thing, right? He caused the Ice Age. So this one ape wants to take this creature to reconquer the surface for themselves.
Okay.
Godzilla's purpose in life is to keep the balance, right? Kong is the tough one. So it is. Kong and Godzilla kick this guy's ass, so this Ice Age and the balance is restored. That's it. Sit and watch. So
yeah, I might give that a go. Fuck it. I might just buy that. Give it a go. Watch it tonight or tomorrow afternoon before the football starts.
Big monsters fighting.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed the first one. I got a real buzz. Minor spoiler, major spoiler, if you've not seen the movie. Yeah. Sorry, Scott, if you've not seen the movie. I got a real buzz out of the first movie where the bad guy turned out to be Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
I thought that was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I really did. I really enjoyed that. So like, oh my god, it's fucking Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it's that sort of thing, it's just like big things just hitting each other.
Yeah.
You know,
and the story isn't. I mean, no offense to the Japanese culture, to the time and stuff. The stories are kind of stupid, but the stories, they made sure they understood that the humans are not the main attraction. They're there to help move the story along. Let's make it interesting, though, so people don't get too bored between the Godzilla stuff. And
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But
you mean the early Godzilla films in Japan? You mean?
If you go watch the original Godzilla movie, then the only one that was really serious is the original one. It was a comment about just like the Godzilla -1, the original Godzilla movie back in the 50s was a serious statement on nuclear warfare and stuff like that. So gradually it got stupider and stupider and stupider. But
bomb after bomb after bomb. No offense to the Japanese culture.
No, but in Japan,
Thanks,
Japan was, they enjoyed it, so they kept going, right? There were bomb after bomb in Japan, but so they got to a point where they were you'd sit there and watch this stupid rubber guy, rubber suit guy.
Yeah.
And then they tried to update it serious with Godzilla with Matthew or Matt, whatever his name is.
Ferris Bueller.
Yeah. So, but then they come along and did it again, and they realized we can make it serious, but not take it too serious, because if we go too hard serious, people are going to laugh. But they made some really good movies so far. So entertainment movies.
That was a I always called that a Velociziller. It was basically a raptor that they made to look like Godzilla. That's all it was, in 1990. But I like that 99. That was a good movie. I mean, it got a lot of shit at the time, but it holds up.
Yeah. So, final word, Paul, spend the few bucks. I'm sure you'll like it.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll
definitely.
like it.
Yeah, I wanted to run it by you guys, just in case you turned around and said, you know what, it was shit.
Yeah.
And then I just wouldn't bother.
See, I haven't. It's on Netflix here, -1. All right, but I haven't. I haven't watched it because it's in the colored version.
Yeah. That's where I watched it. That's right. I remember.
I'd rather watch it in the. I'm pretty damn sure it was black and white when I saw it. But then again, I'm getting old, and my mind's starting to wander. But I think because
don't bother with the colors.
Yeah, it was a color. Or the other thing was that I remember some people weren't going to go see it because you had to read.
Yeah, no.
Subtitles do put a lot of people off.
Yeah,
they really do.
Yeah, so it's like fuck.
I'd rather watch the film with subtitles if it's a foreign film, a foreign language film. Sorry, I'd rather watch it with subtitles because it's a more authentic experience. I hate dubbed films.
Yeah,
I hate watching films that got English dubbed over them.
I wasn't offended it was dubbed. I was offended I couldn't read.
Yeah. That goes back to your comment early on, talking about people coming out of college, university that are not any brighter, right?
Yeah, it's not going to get better. It's not going to get better.
On that note, there's a PlayStation podcast that I listen to, and the host, this always starts off the show with a few letters from people who listen to the show, and someone wrote in sort of criticising him, saying, "Oh, you're always using big words and trying to sound clever and blah blah blah, this, that, and the other." And the host says, "No, I don't. You're just stupid." I'm not using really big, complicated words. You're just thick.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Putting him down for not picking him up, eh?
Yeah.
Did either of you watch? And I asked John this. Did either of you watch Axel F, the new Beverly Hills Cop movie?
Yes, I watched it.
I can't bring myself to watch it unless you turn around and say to me, "It's very good," and you should.
Well, we were talking about the whole Godzilla anthology of movies. In preparation of Axel F, I watched all 3 of the Beverly Hills Cops. Susan and I watched them together, and you all saw Beverly Hills Cop in '84.
I've seen all 3 many times.
It still holds up. It still holds up. What did surprise me is that hard R when he says, with a badge. I was thinking, wow, that's still on Netflix. But you know what? Eddie Murphy's saying it. But overall, the tone of it holds up really well. I was actually relatively impressed because I watched some 80s films and I watched Top Gun again and I'm like, Jesus Christ, he is gay. But, but it was like, I mean, there's a scene in Top Gun when there's a bunch of them standing there all oiled up, and I realized they're not in the locker room; they're just in the hallway. But Beverly Hills Cop, really good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed rewatching it again. It was a great cop movie. The comedy hit, the camaraderie between Taggart and the crew in L.A. and Axel Foley. It worked. It worked. It was definitely worth the rewatch. The second one, very decadent. It captured that 80s. I think it came out in '86. It captured that mid '80s decadence where Beverly Hills with the it's amazing how people are fit. Susan and I noticed that. I mean, obviously it was Hollywood, but even the models and the bikini models were fit. You weren't seeing these cellulite stuffed bathing suits you see today. It was interesting. It was a lot of societal commentary. It had Mrs. Sylvester Stallone, Bridget Nielsen in it, who got in it because she was Mrs. Sylvester Stallone. And it's funny because there's if you remember it at all, they showed a poster for Cobra, which is that Sylvester Stallone 80s movies, and they had Rambo. So I don't know what the connection there, whether he said you can only do it if they mention it or not. But the scene with Bronson Pinchot, Perfect Strangers, Haxal, that whole ad-libbed scene in the gallery was fantastic. It was good, not great. Ronnie Cox, who was the police captain, that whole sub story with him was really good. I enjoyed the second one, not as much as the first one. The third one, holy shit, what a terrible movie. And that's where you go to when people say that movies are so much better before. Not all of them. Not all of them. Not this one. It was brutal. Do you guys remember seeing Beverly Hills Cop 3 at all?
No, actually, I don't.
I remember this, sort of minor spoilers, but it's a 30-year-old movie.
Yes.
Does the captain die in the second one or the third one? I can't remember.
Third one.
It's the third one. Yeah.
He dies in the third.
Yeah, it's dog shit, that movie. Yeah.
It was dog shit, and it's funny because the writer of that movie wrote another iconic 80s movie that you guys will not believe when I tell you, especially if you remember this movie. He wrote Die Hard. The exact same scriptwriter.
Wow.
He said he wanted Beverly Hills Cop 3 to be Die Hard in an amusement park. And it was fucking terrible. The fight scenes were reminiscent of 66 Batman.
Yeah.
The way they shot it was remnant of 66 Batman. Even the punches were terrible. All they needed was the little balloons. It was brutal the way they shot it.
I remember very little about the third one. I remember enjoying the second one, but nowhere near as much as I enjoyed the first one.
Yeah.
I remember very little about the third one, other than they're all sort of like good friends and they go fishing and the captain dies, and that's about it.
Well, there's an interview because I did some I wanted to dig deep on why they did that third one. Eddie Murphy had done an interview, and he said you can only have Axel Foley being in places he shouldn't be so many times. He said and this is before the third one came out, and he said if you see me in a third Beverly Hills Cop, you'll know they paid me enough money. And he got like $18 million for Beverly Hills Cop 3, and it was like a $50 million budget. And the thing is sucked in. When I did the stats on this, it cost, I think the total at the end was $70 million, and it still made $170 million. So that shite film made $100 million, which shocked me at the time. So getting to the new one, Axel F, it was actually pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised. There was some stuff, there's ideology that has infected a lot of stuff, but I think Eddie Murphy said, no, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing that. So he kind of kept it to a minimum.
Yeah, I'm speaking about it, that's right. I never noticed anything. It was just never noticed anything coming up like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was he kept it to a minimum. It was a great send-off of the gang. I could actually see them doing another one because they introduced enough supporting cast. It was great seeing Bronson Pinchot back in his role again, Taggart. And it's funny, I didn't realize at the time, the actor who played Taggart was 36 years old in the original movie. He looked like he was 50 back then, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So
36. That's wow.
36. I couldn't believe it. I was doing research on that. He was 36. He looked to be about 55.
Yeah.
And now he looks like he's 112 years old.
Yeah.
But I can see them doing another one, but it's something that's happening. It's just where we're at. I don't think it's going to change. If I had a son right now, I'd have a tough time taking, because it seems like every movie they do, it's the daughter. It's constantly the daughter in every single film. Will have the daughter, and that's one thing I didn't like about it, is that he couldn't do anything right. It seemed like when it came to Axel Foley with his daughter, no matter what he did, it was his fault.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I don't know, it's one of those things that I was sitting there saying to myself, if I had a son right now, I'd have a tough time showing him current material, because every time they do a movie, it's always the daughter that's the one now.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it's a small critique, but other than that, it held up very well for what I thought it to be. And I think that was Eddie Murphy saying, I'm not doing this, this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
So it was good. I enjoyed it much more than I thought.
I enjoyed it too. It had its moments. I like, is it Judge
Reinhold. Yeah.
I liked how, I remember in the character he was kind of nerdy and stuff like that. Now he's a badass. It's a little bit crazy, but badass in the film.
Well, they started that in Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Yeah.
Because at the back
Jesus
end of the
Christ,
film,
we got to have a talk. All those guns in the trunk of the car.
That's right.
Oh yes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he puts on a trench coat and gets out a couple of shotguns.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking at the time, that's impractical, because you're holding 2 pump action shotguns.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you gonna reload them?
Yeah.
But it was the 80s.
Yeah. So, and overall, introduce Gordon. What's his full
Gordon
name?
Levitt?
Yes. Introduced as, he could, Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy could be like his partner in a way, right? He made him a little bit start to change, like Judge Reinfeld's character. He started to change and realize sometimes you got to go outside the book to do certain things.
They gave room for a sequel. They definitely gave room for a sequel. There was Susan told me there was actually Inspector Todd. He was the inspector. He was the stereotypical, and that started in the 80s, of the guy, I just got my ass chewed out because you did this X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And he was the guy who really started that. And that went all through the 80s of you would see the police guy. Actually, they made fun of it in Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie, where it was a guy who was constantly getting his ass chewed out.
Mm-hmm.
That Last Action Hero.
Yeah.
They did a character job. Remember where he was constantly getting his ass chewed out? That started with that. But the actor who played Inspector Todd in Sue, who's huge into true crime, this guy was a former cop, but he was dirty as fuck. He literally was accused of, he was arrested and charged, but I don't know whether he ever was sent to jail for it, of hiring a hitman to kill someone who was critical of the Detroit Police Department and their practices when he was a cop back in the day. He has a fascinating story behind him. Sue regaled me with the whole tale.
Yeah.
Wow.
But he's only a part-time actor. He was actually a cop, but he has a very colorful life up to. He ran for the mayor of Detroit, actually, in 2001.
Wow.
But it's worth watching, Paul. It's worth watching.
I'll give it a go. I didn't want to watch it because I was scared that it would make me hate Axel Foley.
Ghostbusters 2, I get it. The new Ghostbusters, I felt the same way. I said, God, I can't watch any more of this stuff.
I still haven't watched that latest Ghostbusters film,
don't
Frozen Empire
watch
or whatever it was called. No.
Don't watch it. It's terrible. It'll
Is
depress you. It really will.
Yeah.
It will depress you. Guys, I'm telling you, it will depress you.
Okay.
Sue and I watched it together, and she said, "You're bitchy now." I was like, "Yeah, I am kind of bitchy. It just don't make it. If you're going to do that, just don't make it."
No, I don't want to hate the Ghostbusters.
It'll depress you. It won't make you angry. It'll depress you because you're thinking you had 40 years and you fucking did that. So
okay.
Because the premise, Ghostbusters back in New York, you think, I've got to see that. But
anything you want to happen doesn't happen, and you'll be angry it didn't happen.
Okay.
It tells me everything I need to know. It's kind of like Rebel Moon all over again. It's all like, what the fuck are you thinking?
Be Rebel Moon if you originally cared about Rebel Moon. It'd be like Star Wars. If they took Star Wars 40 years ago and then fucked it up. Oh, wait.
Speaking of which, that's the only thing we haven't spoken about is the Acolyte. Are we sidestepping that on purpose?
I haven't watched it.
Neither have I.
I've seen the reviews. It looks hilarious.
It's a very mixed bag. I've been watching it. I'll watch anything that's Star Wars. I was saying this to someone a couple of weeks ago. I don't give a fuck anymore. You know, I'm a Star Wars fan. I'll watch anything that's got Star Wars on it. I'll either like it or I won't. I don't give a fuck. You know, if it's shit, fuck it. I don't care. It's not my money. It's do what you want. And it's a game of two halves. It's not two halves. It's very weighted towards being more shit than good. But when it's good, it's pretty good. Like there's some really good sort of like Arrow quality fight scenes in it. But you don't get one per episode. There's sort of like at the moment there's as much talking and plot as there is actual good stuff. And when I say talking and plot should be good. For a TV show or a movie, talking and plot should be some of your highlights. You watch any Quentin Tarantino film, the dialogue and the plot are usually some of the highlights in the movie. In this, you just switch off. It's like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about any of this. I'm not interested. I don't care. It's all bullshit. I'm not this. I don't want to watch it. I do not want to watch this. And they have like at least 2 episodes out of the 7 that there've been so far, which are all just exposition. It's all just exposition. It's all flashbacks and exposition. I don't give a fuck about any of this. I'm not interested. I quite enjoyed that fight. That was pretty cool. That thing that you did right there, that was pretty cool. I don't give a shit about anything else. I don't give a fuck what's going on. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your background is. I don't care what your motivation is. I don't care what the plot is. I don't give a single fuck. I quite enjoy that fight. I quite enjoy that fight. And that's all I'm in it for. I'm just in it I'm just wait for the good stuff. But it's like watching Rebel Moon. I'm just all like on the iPad. As soon as I hear a lightsaber turn, I'm going to watch it. And that's it.
I've
watched about an hour's worth of 7 episodes of Star Wars.
I have 2 questions.
Go on.
Did they burn down a rock fortress?
Kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of.
And did they have a Wookiee? Did they have a Wookiee with a lightsaber and they showed the fight off screen?
They did have. Well, no, it wasn't all off screen. They did have a Wookiee with a lightsaber,
and the fight was mostly off screen. Did they?
It doesn't.
They had a Wookiee with a fucking lightsaber, and they took any part of that off screen. You've answered the 2 questions I need to know whether I'm watching it or not.
They did have a. Yeah, I mean, the rock fortress that got burnt down did have a lot of soft furnishings and curtains and sofas.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You're like, rock doesn't burn.
It did explode. And yes, they do have a Jedi Wookiee who was clearly too expensive for the budget.
A $280 million budget? Like, there's like the comedy, the unintentional comedy from this series of one that I've never seen. It's like, holy shit. Like, they had a budget that most countries don't have a GDP that high, and they left the Wookiee scene out because it was just too expensive. Okay.
Yeah. You know what's funny is, like I've just said, I'm kind of like, I'm playing on my iPad or I'm playing on my Nintendo Switch or something, and I'm waiting for something good to happen. You go to the planet where this Wookiee is, and you know that they're going to go and kill him. And I'm waiting for the bad guys to go and fight the Wookiee or whatever. And I'm listening. I'm waiting for something exciting. I'm waiting for something good. And then the next time I look up, it's like, where's the fucking Wookiee? And it's gone. It's done. It's gone. And I never even noticed. It's
dead in the chair.
There was nothing happened that drew my attention to the screen to give a shit enough to see what happened. I still don't know what happened to him. I still don't know. Because he's just gone. Where's the fucking Wookiee? No one's talking about him anymore. I don't know what happened. There's no reference to it. I didn't see it because there was nothing drew me attention to the screen. I didn't even bother rewinding it to find out. I thought, I don't give a fuck. because he was only on screen for 5 minutes initially anyway. Now, he's been in a flashback where he's got his lightsaber out and there was a little bit of a fight. I thought, I've seen these Jedi fights. There's actually been some pretty cool action sequences where they're spinning all this shit around and martial arts and fighting and leaping about the stuff and using the Force and all this shit. And I'm watching this Wookiee fighting with this lightsaber. It's like Ben Kenobi from the original Star Wars could have beat him in a lightsaber fight. That's how fucking useless he was with a lightsaber. It was that fucking useless with it that he had to lose the lightsaber and then start like just picking this guy up and just sort of like throwing him around like the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like that's how shit that lightsaber fight was. Even the people who were making it thought, fuck this. Let's lose the lightsaber and let's just have him throw him through a fucking wall or something. That's how shit that was. So yeah, I think the whole idea about having a Wookiee was probably like, oh, let's have a Wookiee Jedi, that'd be cool. And then sort of like the script writers like, yeah, fucking Wookiee and Wookiee lightsabers and Wookiee fucking martial arts and that sort of shit. And then it's sort of like they gave the script to the director and the cinematographer and all this, that and the other and the cast, and it's sort of like, there you go, film that. The director looked at it and thought, are you kidding? You having a fucking laugh? I can't do that. That's not happening. That guy wearing that big massive fucking rug, he's not doing that. He's not spinning, he's not jumping, he's not throwing that thing around, he's not doing any of this. I can't do any of this. All this, they just took all those pages out. It's like, no, let's go straight to the bit where he just grabs him round the throat and throws him through a fucking wall. Let's just do that bit. Yeah, let's do that. And that's all.
I have a third question. Just out of the game. Did someone headbutt a lightsaber?
Yes, I saw that clip online.
Okay, that's it. That was the
tiebreaker. The only thing I can suggest that makes any sense is that the material they use, because the Mandalorians have their metal can block lightsabers.
Yeah.
So if the helmet is made out of the same material used by the Mandalorians, because the Mandalorians they were a race that fought Jedi, so they have material to help block it. So if the material made in helmet is the same, then yeah, that's okay. It's not stretching the storyline too long.
Yeah, I think now, to be fair, they have kind of, well, no, they haven't explained it. That was about to be a lie. They haven't. The only explanation we've got is they called it something. Now, the real deep lore Star Wars nerds will already know what this means. But his helmet is made out of a particular metal which nullifies lightsabers. So when they hit him in the head with a lightsaber, the lightsaber switches off. I have no idea how that works. Absolutely no idea, because it's not explained in the show. It's just, oh yeah, it's made out of, space adamantium.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever it is.
Yeah.
And if you hit it with a lightsaber, your lightsaber turns off temporarily for a short
Yeah, because if you go back and watch The Mandalorian, when he's fighting Ahsoka, he blocks it with his arm.
Well, that's Beskar armor.
That's what I'm. That's okay. That's the word I was looking for. So,
but it's not that. It's not that.
It's something else.
Because if you hit Beskar armor, your lightsaber doesn't turn off.
No,
it just doesn't cut through Beskar armor because that is space adamantium. But this shit that this guy's wearing, it's actually a pretty cool helmet. In fact, the bad guy's actually pretty cool. Although I question the direction he's being given with when the bad guy is revealed is a little bit pantomime. That's a bit much. That's too much bad guy. That's proper sort of like Hammer House of Horror, Christopher Lee Dracula sort of bad guy. Too much pantomime for me. But the helmet itself is pretty cool, but it's not Beskar because it, like I say, it does nullify the lightsaber. I don't know how it works. Deep lore Star Wars nerds will. I don't remember them explaining it on the show. All they said was, "Oh yeah, it's such and such metal. It switches off your lightsabers." All right, okay, move on. and those pages were lost with the rest of the Wookiee files. I was like, we're not. Oh, fuck that. We're not doing that. No
I watched a video. Of the song. There's a song in there, and the video was Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker on the catwalk, and Vader says this Luke Skywalker.
Oh yeah.
He sings a song, and I'm thinking, I don't know how that could fit into it, but I know when I'm watching it, they overdubbed it. when he says "I am your father," he says "I am the da 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 da," and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" But it's a reference to the show. Did they sing a song at some point in time?
No. But I think maybe the content of the song is sort of taking the piss out of the TV show. Did they sing a song? I don't think so. Maybe
the women sang a song during.
Oh, maybe while there was some ritual in episode whatever
about the Force. Yeah, about the Fourth.
Okay. Yeah. There was some there was some ritual. There was probably a reference to that. So
okay. All right.
When you said
that's one of the plot and exposition episodes that I really didn't give it.
When you said catwalk, the first thing I says, "I'm on the catwalk."
Yeah. I didn't know the context of it, but it was funny as hell. I'm thinking, what do they do on that show? But I guess it's.
I was going to say, I don't know how often you get, like, I'm on YouTube a lot now, and I saw one where there's a company or a couple of them that take AI and they do what Battlestar Galactica would look. Well, they did one with Fast and the Furious. They're all drive around in little, like, those carts that old people sit in and drive around.
Yeah,
it's all them sitting Fast and Furious, whatever. So that was entertaining.
I did an AI version of Lord of the Rings if it was cast in the '90s, which you're looking at and you're thinking, oh my God, AI is about 5 years away from just replacing a lot of stuff that was on Hollywood.
Some of them look pretty cool, like when they do in the '50s version of Star Wars or Star Trek or Battlestar Galactica. They're cool, but you can still see it's. I kind of agree with you, but it looks really creepy.
Yeah, they're both 5 years away.
Yeah.
It's going to happen quick, but I mean, it's just where we're at.
Yeah. So, all right. So, anything else, gentlemen?
No, I've exhausted all my topics.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for asking.
Of course, I've got a bunch left, but that's for next time.
Oh, thank goodness for that. I don't know whether you heard. I thought
it
should be on silent, but I did miss a call.
Your phone, it rang. You ever heard it? Yeah.
That's on silent. Why was it ringing? Oh, I know why. It was because it was for my wife, and she's a priority caller. I can't block her calls. That's why it rang.
Okay.
I was going to. It said, "Bring spatula." Without saying too much, bring spatula.
Yeah.
No, she's visiting her parents. She's up with them at the moment, so I'll better see what she wants.
All right.
So I was going to say I was probably going to have to duck out shortly anyway. If we're about done, that would be perfect timing for me.
Yeah, I think we're done. It's like,
ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you. My father thanks you. My sister thanks you. And I thank you.
That's all, folks.
Thank you. Come again.
Why, you little?